Piero Lissoni does not need an introduction. He's an architect, an art designer, an art director and a designer, and he is known as one of the masters of contemporary design. Piero, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon to everybody, and thank you for this incredible and beautiful possibility or opportunity to talk about our experiences and our work. Thank you. Thank you for the Ambassade, and thank you for the ICE, and thank you to the panelists, and thank you for the public and our guests.
Piero, if I'm not mistaken, you have a short introduction. We welcome your insight and thoughts.
Yes, if you like, I'm talking about the short introduction, or if you like, we show the introduction. It's only 5 minutes, and I'm ready to start to discuss about in super quickly way. I don't like to be boring, only for that reason.
You can be. Go ahead.
Well, I think the old images, they are in your hands now.
Okay, so maybe here we are.
Yeah, I like to talk about the attitude to be a community. To be a community, in my mind, it means first, it's a humanistic community. When I discuss about inside in studio or worldwide around of some project, I like to be humanistic, like Vitruvio says. Architects, it means you need to be poet, you need to be engineer, you need to be worker, you need to be artisan, you need to know in which way they move the stars. When we discuss about of that, I put inside, it's for me a crucial point. It's not enough to be architect, it's not enough to be a designer, it's not enough to be graphic designer. I need to be all together. Sometimes I like to be engineer too. It's not easy for me because I'm architect, but you know, nobody's perfect. But the whole idea around of these points, this kind of crucial attitude to be humanistic, it means it's a humanistic approach inside in a community. When we work inside in the Italian design system, it's not one architect, it's not one designer, it's not one graphic designer or somebody else or high director, but it's a community. It's a community of incredible level of knowledges. It's a community of artisans with high-tech capacity. It's the capacity to use hands, in the same time as the capacity to work with a large generation of robots. In the same time, you know, you put inside some different level of research. It's not enough to talk about of material capacity in a production, integrity, creativity, but you need to combine together all of them. I like to show to our friends in the United States and worldwide our capacity to be inside in a special working and worker community. For that reason, I show to you some our experiences. When we design something, doesn't matter if it's an object with the industrial production inside, or it's architecture, or it's a graphic design. Everything is connected one by one by one. When I design something like a building, I design a building because I'm an architect. But when I design a building, I put inside technologies, I put inside intelligent solutions, I put inside sometimes vision, but in the same time, I think about in which way is possible to touch spaces, in which way is possible to put inside in a space some object, in which way is possible to use interferences about of capacity to produce in a better way with maximum respect for the material, for the nature, for our future life. And in the same time, I like to be architect because I design buildings. I'm architect because I design interior. I'm designer because I design pieces inside an interior. But in the same time, I like to talk about on the second level of ideas. It's possible to do something with the bidimensional treasure messages like a graphic design. But it's not enough. Again, I like to work in an experimental way. For example, we use a lot in our life, a lot of experimental projects like the conceptualization for many contests all around the world. That it's what we did, what we're doing and what we're working, and I will in the future too, to do many different options. And I like to show in which way it's possible to be not Italian, European first, because we are European. And the second one, because we are able to show to everybody our different capacity to combine together many different words, many different technologies, many different attitudes, and not to be arrogant, but to be open-minded. When we're talking about the Italian design system, we're talking about doesn't matter if it's small or bigger industry and factories, but we're talking about one completely integrated system in a country. But in the same time, we are totally open-minded to work with somebody else from another level of culture. We put our culture together to share our capacity with somebody else from outside, for example. That one, it's become absolutely important because this is the secret for the Italian design system. The Italian design system, it's in the end of our industries. I showed to you many different thoughts. We did architecture, graphic, piece of art, and that's it. I think I finished to talk. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to Maestro Gaetano Pesce, who obviously... Sorry, that was clearly a mistake. Let's go back to Piero. While listening to your introduction, I became curious about the process that takes you from an aesthetic idea, a concept, if you will, to the final product, whether it's a piece of furniture or a building, for example. What kind of obstacles do you encounter along the way? And are you willing to compromise your aesthetic idea in order to get to the final product?
Listen, it's I'm a person inside in a team. In the end, you see my face, and my face become public. But I'm a face, and a public face for a team. I never design something because I wake up in the morning with a fantastic idea. I don't know the reason why, but probably I'm not creative enough. All of my work, it's made it inside in a special process, and all our work, my work in studio and worldwide, it's inside in teams. It's expression about and around of the teamwork. When I did something, or when I think, or I will to do something for the future, I discuss with the team, and time by time we design a building. Time by time we design an object. Time by time we found the new technologies. Time by time we show something different. And last, I use my face like a signature, but unfortunately for them, they choose me only because I'm very beautiful and very decorative. That's it. But it's a teamwork.
I see. And I have another question for you. Through Lissonian Partners, you have offices in Milan and in New York. What does the US market give you that other markets don't?
Listen, we understand and we learn a lot because we opened a studio in New York in 2008. And we learn the rhythm of United States. We learn the curiosity, and we learn the capacity to do many different thoughts all around the United States. In the same time, the whole United States, they learn a little bit our culture. I talk about the European culture. It's a good link. In the same time, it's like a crossover. Open Studio in New York is for us a cultural crossover, and it's incredible crossover of opportunity. When you discuss about the capacity to do something in the United States, more or less, the people, they are open-minded. In the same time, they are a little bit traditional, more traditional than normally I suppose it in before. But after many years now, we open, our link, and we open our point of discussion, and they become a little bit curious. In the same time, we become more curious than the Americans. And now, I don't know if we are more Americans or we are more European, but now I like to be again and to work again in United States, because I tell you before, I learned in more than 10 years this level of incredible energy and curiosity.
And talking about America, America loves everything Italian. Do you think that the Italian sensitivity by now is well understood, or it still needs a fair amount of explanation in order to be truly appreciated?
It's more or less appreciated. Think about America, it's a huge country. It's full of different culture. And when you're talking about, when we think about from Europe or from Italy, we think about of New York. For us, New York, it's America, but it's not true. New York, it's an incredible state. The New York City. It's a piece of Europe in America, probably, or it's a piece of world in America. When you discuss about of the Italian taste in the United States, you need to understand we work in many different communities, and we need first to learn the level of knowledge of community. In the same time, we need to jump out of this kind of naive attitude to talk about, everything from Italy, the classical made in Italy function everywhere. It's not true. I discover after many, many years in America, they're all different communities. They are open-minded, but in the same time, it's not enough to be Italian. You need to be efficient, you need to be curious, you need to be good, and you need to offer something with our taste in another completely different approach.
And one of the themes of today's event is sustainability. What is it for you?
Listen, the maximum level of sustainability is not to use only in a good way material. It's not only to choose correct material and correct quantities of energy. That one is inside in the nature of the project, because normally when we discuss about of sustainability, it's inside, it's in the DNA of the project, if you are not completely stupid. But the real level of sustainability is the durability. When we discuss about the capacity to use in a correct way material, because we put inside in this spatial picture the capacity and the level of durability. If you design a chair, not for the next 2 years, but for the next 20 years, not because I'm arrogant, not because I think, okay, now I like to design the new iconic chair, because it's an honest approach around of the industrial design. I design something for the next years, not for tomorrow, not for one day later. That one is the real level of sustainability. We need to change our level of consumptions. If you buy something, you need to offer a long life and a long level of durability, not only sustainability. I don't like to discuss about it's possible to make recycling or to sustain very well the ambience and the world because we use in a correct way the material. First, you need to change our level of consumes. You buy a table, use the table for many, many, many years. Don't change because, it's a fashion attitude. Of course, I'm talking about of design. The level of design, it's work because we are inside every day in something new, but in the same time, you need to be honest. Buy one piece and use for the whole life. And after that, or you give it for the next generation, or you throw it away, and we recycling everything, but at the same time offer the long life of. That's it.
And finally, what is the future of Piero Lissoni? What I mean is, what kind of project haven't you worked on that you would like to?
Listen, the future we discover tomorrow morning. We are involved in many different projects. Personally, I like the idea to retransform myself in a ski teacher. What do you think? It's a good futuristic attitude?
You would like teaching, you said?
No, I like to become a ski instructor. I think it's better than work and to finish my career like an architect, you know. Is more romantic and more sophisticated.
Well, maybe you can design the next ski resort.
I prefer to be a ski instructor, you know, no, without any level of responsibilities for that.
Well, thank you for this little interview here. And now it's time for my discussion with Gaetano Pesce. You briefly saw it earlier on by mistake. I kindly ask our virtual control room to launch it.
Ciao, grazie.